G'day humans, Chris Stead from Finder here. Today I'm talking Nintendo, also known as the Mushroom Kingdom. Now my goal with this video is to take you through Nintendo's stance on NFTs, blockchain, the metaverse, play-to-earn games, where they stand with that entire scene. Now this is part of a series of videos I'm doing where I'm looking at all the AAA video game publishers, developers and console manufacturers to see what they're up to and what they think of NFTs in this big burgeoning scene we're seeing encroaching into the traditional gaming space. Now, in the description, I will put links to my full articles, which will be updated in real time as new events unfold. So make sure you go check that out. There's also more videos available through the channel itself, the video YouTube channel. But right now, let's talk Nintendo. Now, surely Nintendo doesn't really need any introduction. This company has touched every generation of gamer. They had the most popular console 40 years ago, and they got the most popular console now. The Switch, the Wii U, the GameCube, the SNES, the NES, the Game Boy, the Nintendo DS. I'm sure you've heard of probably all of those. They all come from the mighty Nintendo. If I want to actually list through the amazing games and series and IP that they've brought to the entertainment space over the years, we would need a lot longer than we have to talk about now. It's nearly endless, it just goes forever. But your Super Marios, your Mario Karts, your Smash Brothers, your Zeldas, WarioWare, Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, F-Zero, like they're all these amazing games that come out of Nintendo, and plenty more as well. I'm sure you've heard of all of them. Now, Nintendo has over the years been quite famous for pioneering things as well, and this is probably particularly relevant to a conversation about the NFT games and the blockchain technology we're seeing at the moment. So things like motion controls, augmented reality, the handheld itself, you could probably argue as well. Amiibos, the physical version of an NFT really, and you can even go and say the Virtual Boy. Maybe not pioneering too much in that example, but at least they tried. So Nintendo has always been about doing something different, trying out new things and going in directions that gamers don't expect them to, and sometimes even rally against, yet still somehow delivering incredibly fun experiences on the other end of that, which makes them a potentially huge player in the adoption of the NFT and blockchain and metaverse space by traditional gamers. While many of the players in the AAA gaming space have been quite vocal about their thoughts around NFTs through 2021, Nintendo stayed typically tight-lipped. Nintendo doesn't let a hell of a lot go. And it wasn't until February 2022 that we started to get any indication at all about what their thoughts were, or that their thoughts were about this burgeoning technology. And it came in the form of an investors call, of which an analyst named Dave Gibson was in that call, and he leaked the information that was said out to the public. Now, when they were asked in this investors call, Nintendo that is, was asked in this investors call what was their thoughts and interest relating to NFTs in the metaverse, this is what they replied with. We do have an interest in this area, we feel potential in this area, but we wonder what joy we can provide, and that is difficult to define right now. Now, this leak was picked up enough in the media that Nintendo felt the need to issue an official statement, and in it they do indeed confirm that there is an interest there in what the blockchain can do, and certainly it hints at the metaverse, although it never explicitly uses the acronym NFT anywhere in the statement. This is exactly what it said. The metaverse is attracting the attention of many companies around the world, and we believe that it has great potential. In addition, when the metaverse is mentioned in the media, software such as Animal Crossing is sometimes cited as an example, and in this sense, we are interested in it. On the other hand, it's not easy to define what kind of surprise and fun the metaverse can provide to customers. As a company that proposes entertainment, we have to think about how to provide fresh surprises and fun. It's worth noting at this point that Nintendo, particularly in recent years, has taken a liking to farming out its IP and even licensing it to third parties. Now, Pokemon Go is the most notable example of that, but we've also seen Mario turn up in, say, the Sega Olympic Games. There's also been a run of mobile experiences that Nintendo's been involved with, or had its IP involved with, where it's really used some developers that we probably wouldn't have seen them ever use in the past, like Namco, for example, to make those games. So potentially, when they're saying that they can't find the fun and entertainment there, That doesn't mean necessarily that there isn't someone out there who can and they're willing to license their brands too. That may be where we see it coming. But whatever is going to happen, the statement continues in such a fashion to suggest that it's definitely ways off anyway. If we can find a way to communicate our Nintendo approach to many people in an easy to understand manner, we may be able to consider something with NFTs and the metaverse. But we do not believe that this is the case at this time. Beyond those statements, we haven't heard anything else from Nintendo as of June 2022 about where they're planning to go through the potential metaverse with their use of the blockchain. However, we can find some insights from Reggies fils-aime. Now, he is the ex-president of Nintendo America and also the chief operating officer. And for 13 years, he held this role. Now, he left in 2019, so a couple of years ago, but definitely, and we know this from Ubisoft and Microsoft and other players in the space, blockchain technology was very much on the radar of most of the AAA video games developers by that time, which means that his thoughts and beliefs on the blockchain and what it could do would definitely permeated the company around that period, and he would have been pushing. You'd have to think for some at least R&D into the sector to find out what is possible. And I say this because his commentary on what he believes is possible from the blockchain, metaverse and NFTs is very, very direct and quite strong. In fact, he went as far as to call out an Animal Crossing NFT as being something that he would love to see. In March 2022, Reggie said, "So, I'm a believer in blockchain. I think it's a really compelling technology. I'm also a believer in the concept of play to own within video games. And I say this as a player where I may have invested 50 hours, 100 hours or 300 hours in a game. When I'm ready to move on to something else, wouldn't it be great to monetize what I built? I bet I'd have some takers here today if I wanted to sell my Animal Crossing island. I'd like to be able to monetize that. Blockchain technology embedded in the code would enable me to do that. It needs to make sense for the player. It can't just be an approach by the developer that it's interesting or it's a way for them as a development entity to make more money. In the end, it's got to be good for the player, but I see an opportunity." Now, as Reggie was making those comments and in the months that followed, we did see quite a big downturn in the crypto market, and that did impact the NFT scene and a lot of the people that were in the blockchain development space. However, given an opportunity to talk about it in May 2022, Reggie still hadn't budged and he doubled down on his thoughts. Indeed, he said, "I remember the GDC where Satoru Iwata made comments about free-to-play games and how he saw they were a significant danger for the industry. And yet here we are today where there are great quality free-to-play games. Industry is going through change to divisive elements. And because the underlying technology isn't completely proven, there are scams and bad actors taking advantage. I'm old enough to remember the earliest days of the internet and the scams and issues. So I understand the divisiveness, I really do. And certainly the environmental element is something that has to be solved. Not all blockchain is so environmentally disruptive. Certainly, there is a lot to be proven out, and the massive loss in value of different platforms in the blockchain environment that we've seen over the past few weeks tells you this technology is still immature. But in my mind, that's not a reason to just completely push it aside and say it can never be anything of substance or value. I said that there needs to be a use case when you've got a really fun, creative experience that leverages the technology for people to come around. The what if that I give you is what if there was an experience that blended the best of Pokemon and the best of 5 other genres or game experiences. All of them had this ability for you to play and create your own character and then exchange them with someone else and get something of value back. Now it goes beyond a singular game or experiences. It touches on the variety of experiences, and that gets interesting and compelling. So it's clear there that Reggie certainly drank the Kool-Aid, and he is very much invested in the base functionality and utility that's offered by NFTs and believes it can really offer something of value to customers around the world or gamers around the world. How much of that did he think and say and get through to his company when he was the president? That's what we don't know. But I can't imagine that these thought patterns have only developed in the years since he left, considering that we've had blockchain technology on the table now and been worked on by competitors to Nintendo since as early as 2016. Another Nintendo partner of note that is pushing blockchain technology is Niantic. Now, Niantic is the developer that built Pokemon Go. It's one of the most popular games in recent time, and it's still played by millions of people all around the world. Now, in May 2022, Niantic built this mob called X games. And these guys are working on move to earn technology, right? So this is technology that ties directly into the GPS-based gaming experiences like Ingress and Pokemon Go that Niantic has become famous for. And it ties into the idea of you being able to earn through movement and then bringing it into a gameplay experience. Now, while this is definitely a far way from Nintendo saying, hey, we're going to use blockchain technology, it's certainly Niantic suggesting the future of Pokemon Go is going to be using this type of blockchain technology. Now, John Hank, the CEO of Niantic, did release a statement at the time of the acquisition, and what he said was, when we met SpotX, they started talking about using blockchain as a way to inspire people to go outside, discover new places, have fun with exercise. It was kind of like we were talking to ourselves. Frankly, it's really easy to dismiss that whole set of technologies just based on some of the things we read about. I think that would be a huge mistake. I think there's something really important about this technology. It's early days here with blockchain, but you're going to be hearing more from us on the topic in the future. Considering the acquisition and what was said in that statement, I think it's pretty clear that Niantic is definitely going to go down the blockchain pathway. That may not be specifically NFTs or specifically a metaverse. It could just be specific to the move to earn concept that SpotX Games were working on and how that ties into the games. However, it's hard to think that Nintendo would pull the license for Pokemon from Niantic, considering what Pokemon Go has done for the brand and continue to do on a daily basis. Therefore, it's fair and not drawing too long a bow to suggest that Pokemon Go will be using blockchain technology in the foreseeable future. The reality is Nintendo doesn't need to rock the boat right now. The Switch is selling so well. It's on top of the world, it's on top of the coop, its games are doing fantastic, and everybody is in love with Nintendo once again at the moment. Now, while I said at the top that Nintendo is a pioneer, it's also been famous for being very late to some technology. So there's nothing to say that Nintendo's going to rush out there to try and be the one that pioneers what the blockchain can do in traditional games. I think it's more likely that while Nintendo certainly has an interest, it's not going to rush into it. But there's definitely an interest there. You can see from those statements that were made in the investors call, and those were then committed to publicly by Nintendo shortly after. There is an interest there. What form is it going to take? That's what we don't know, and that's what's really exciting, because Nintendo more or less pioneered the idea of NFT interoperability, which is the ability for an NFT to provide different functionalities in different games if you hold it. That's exactly what Amiibo did. It's exactly what they pioneered with Amiibo. And in the Mushroom Kingdom and the way that they've used those characters across multiple IP already, they've already created a metaverse, the Mushroom Kingdom metaverse. They've already built it. So it's just about how they may want to take that to another level by utilizing the blockchain to build a metaverse that goes beyond, I guess, what we see as right now with just the individual games that share characters. Anyway, as of June 2022, that is everything there is to know about Nintendo's stance on the NFTs, the metaverse, play to earn, and of course the blockchain. Now, make sure you check out my other videos where I take you through some of the other AAA players and what they're up to. I've also got the articles that are on the website. I'll list those in the description below, and they will be updated in real time as more news comes to hand. So it's a great resource for you if you're interested and want to keep on top of it all as it unfolds over 2022 and into the years to come, because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be some boat rocking going on by some of these AAAs in the near future. Anyway, I'm Chris Stead from Find. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.
Find better.